talk.
GeekWatch Incarnations. All live-action Superman actors, appearances, and interesting trivia. Before we start, don't forget to click like, hit the notification bell, click share, write a comment, and please subscribe. You can follow GeekWatch on most major social network platforms. Now, let's begin. Quick comic history. Superman was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. He first appeared on the cover of Action Comics #1 published April 1938. The following are the actors who portrayed the different versions of Superman in live action.
Up.
The 6'1" American actor KIRK Alyn became the first actor to bring to life Superman's adventures on the big screen with 2 movie serials. 1948. Alyn was 37 years old when the first Superman movie serial was released. In this serial he faced off with the Spider Lady, who has nefarious plans for the people of Metropolis. 1950. Atom Man vs. Superman movie serial was released. The Atom Man in the serial is Superman's arch-nemesis, Luthor. This serial is Alyn's last appearance as Superman on the big screen. He was 39 years old. Outside of the movie serials, KIRK Alyn suited up as Superman in a celebrity baseball game organized by Paramount Studios. 1952. Alyn would star as another DC Comics hero, Black Hawk, in a movie serial. 1978. KIRK Alyn's final appearance in the world of Superman is a small cameo as General Sam Lane in Superman the movie.
There's only one person who can handle this job, and that's Superman.
The 6'1" American actor George Reeves appeared as Superman in the character's first feature film and first TV series. 1951. Reeves was 37 years old when the Superman and the Mole Men feature film was released. In this film we see the superhero prevent a tragedy when he intervened in the imminent clash of scared locals and a race of underground-dwelling humanoids. 1952. George Reeves will continue Superman's adventures on the small screen, with the Adventures of Superman TV series which lasted for 6 seasons, with a total of 104 episodes. During the 3rd season of the show is the first time we see a live-action Superman in color. No villains from the comics were adapted for the series. Superman faced off mostly with run-of-the-mill criminal-type characters. Reeves was 44 years old when the last episode was aired in 1958. 1954. Around season 2 of the TV series, Reeves also appeared as the character in Stamp Day for Superman, a short film promoting the purchase of US saving bonds. 1955. George Reeves's Superman appeared in an episode of Funny Boners, a children's game show hosted by the ventriloquist Jimmy Weldon and his dummy, Webster Webfoot. Unfortunately, no footage or photograph survived this Superman appearance. 1957. In the 13th episode of Season 6 of the sitcom I Love Lucy, Superman appeared as a special guest for a birthday party for little Ricky, Lucy's son. Finally, during the run of Reeves's Superman TV show, he would also appear in several Kellogg's Corn Flakes commercials, mostly in his Clark Kent guise, with an occasional short glimpse of Superman in flight footage, borrowed from the show.
You were great in your day, Superman.
The 6'4" American actor Christopher Reeve officially appeared as Superman in 4 feature-length films. 1978. Reeve was 26 years old when Superman the movie was released in theaters. The movie depicts Superman's origin and the first time he faced off with the villainous Lex Luthor. 1980. Superman 2 was released, and this time the superhero battles it out with 3 Kryptonian criminals led by General Zod. 1983. Superman 3 movie finds Superman going up against a powerful supercomputer. 1987. We see the last of Christopher Reeve's Superman movies, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. In this movie, Luthor created his own Superman in the form of Nuclear Man, who Luthor hoped can defeat the Man of Steel. Reeve was 34 years old when the movie was released. 1984. Superman's cousin, Supergirl, had her own movie. Reeve was supposed to have a cameo in the film, but he decided not to do it. A Superman poster can still be seen in Kara's dorm room. Also in 1984, Reeve appeared in a Saturday Night Live sketch where he was auditioning for the Superman role. In the sketch, he had actual superpowers. 1989. A Canon camcorder commercial sees Christopher Reeve as a dad to a boy playing Superman. 2003 to 2004. Reeve's last venture into the world of Superman was in 2 episodes of Smallville. He appeared as Dr. Virgil Swan, a brilliant scientist giving a young Clark Kent guidance.
I'm fighting for my people.
The 6-footer American actor Dean Cain officially appeared as Superman in a television series. 1993. Dean Cain was 27 years old when the first episode of the series was aired. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman would last for 4 seasons, with a total of 88 episodes. The TV series focuses on the relationship and romance between Lois Lane and Clark Kent as much as the adventures of Clark's superhero persona. The show was able to adapt several comic book villains to go against Superman. We have the hero's arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor, the kryptonite-powered Metallo, and the imp from the 5th dimension, Mr. Mxyzptlk, to name a few. Dean Cain was 30 years old when the last episode of the series aired in 1997. 1996. Dean Cain finds himself playing a character named Clark Kent in a TV movie entitled Cutty Whitman starring James Remar. Other than that small tidbit of information, no other details, images or video clips are available online. 2007. Cain is back in the world of Superman when he played Curtis Knox in the Smallville TV series. Knox was based on the comic book villain Vandal Savage, which made the character at odds with the series' Clark Kent. 2009. Dean Cain cameoed as himself in the TV series Entourage, where the character named Drama saw that he was auditioning against Dean Cain for a role which made him blurt out, "Effin' Superman." 2016. Cain lent his voice to Superman's Earth father, Jonathan Kent, in the animated movie DC Superhero Girls, Hero of the Year. 2015 to 2017. Dean Cain's latest visit to Superman's law is a recurring role in the TV series that focuses on the superhero's cousin, Supergirl. In the show, he played Jeremiah Danvers, Supergirl's adoptive father. He appeared in a total of 6 episodes. The 6 feet 3 inches American actor Tom Welling has the shortest official Superman screen time at approximately 2 minutes, however, he has the most appearance playing Clark Kent. 2001. Tom Welling was 24 years old when the first episode of Smallville was aired. Smallville follows the coming-of-age adventures of teenage Clark in his fictional hometown of Smallville before he formally becomes the Man of Steel. The series lasted for 10 seasons with a total of 217 episodes. By season 5, Welling's Clark begins to have frequent adventures in Superman's future home city of Metropolis. The show started introducing comic book-based supervillains, the likes of Brainiac, General Zod, Doomsday, and we even get a glimpse of Darkseid. Lex Luthor has been in the show since season 1, where he started out as one of Clark's closest friends. 2011. Only in the final episode of the series did we see Tom Welling wear the iconic Superman suit, but barely. He was 34 years old. We do get a clear look of Welling's Superman in the comics continuation of the show. 2017 to 2018. Welling appeared in a TV series based on another DC Comics property, Lucifer. Here he played a character named CAIN, and appeared in the show for 17 episodes. 2019. Tom Welling's latest venture in the world of Superman was in the CW-verse mega crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, when he returned as Smallville's Clark Kent. Here we learned that Clark gave up his powers and is having a normal family life in their farm. The 6'2" American actor Brandon Routh officially appeared as Superman in a movie, then 13 years after suit up again as the character and had guest appearances in several TV shows. 2006. 26 years old Brandon Routh inherited the Superman role from Christopher Reeve, when he starred in Superman Returns, a homage sequel to Reeve's Superman 2. Also returning in the movie is Superman's arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor. Unfortunately for Routh, this is the only Superman movie he has done. A couple of years earlier, Routh's dream tested for a different Superman movie entitled Superman Flyby. We have this image of Routh wearing that movie's Superman suit, but eventually that movie did not happen and it just gradually morphed into the Superman Returns movie. 2010. Brandon Routh appeared in another comic book movie property, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where he played a psychic-powered vegan, Todd Ingram, who lost in an epic bass guitar battle when he went up against the titular hero. 2011. Routh appeared in a movie based on an Italian comic book, Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. Routh starred as Dylan Dog, an ace detective whose specialty is paranormal cases. 2014 to 2022. Brandon Routh suited up as the Atom, another DC Comics superhero. He appeared in a slew of episodes, 104 in total, across several DC shows on the CW network, and was one of the leads for the DC's Legends of Tomorrow series. 2019 to 2020. Coming full circle and performing double duties, Routh, aside from being the Atom, appeared in a CW-verse mega crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, as Superman. 13 years after his Superman Returns movie, Routh, now 40 years old, appeared as an older Man of Steel and heavily inspired by the comics Kingdom Come version of the character. This is also the first time we saw two different Superman actors battling it out, both as Superman.
Not impressed.
The 6'1" British actor Henry Cavill officially appeared as Superman in 4 theatrically released films. 2013. 30 years old Henry Cavill's first appearance as Superman is in the Man of Steel movie. This movie updates the superhero's origin for the modern audience. In his first outing as Superman, Cavill's Man of Steel faces off with the powerful Kryptonian, General Zod. Interesting trivia: Cavill auditioned for the Man of Steel movie wearing the original Christopher Reeve Superman costume. Several years prior to the Man of Steel movie, Cavill also auditioned for the Superman Flyby movie, which later became Brandon Routh's Superman Returns film. 2016. The Man of Steel sequel finds our superhero at odds with the Dark Knight, in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Later in the film, we find out that the clashing of the two titans was orchestrated by Superman's arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor. 2017. Justice League movie finds a newly formed league seeking the assistance of a rejuvenated Superman to fight off apocalyptic terrors, led by a menacing Steppenwolf. 2017. Cavill's version of Superman, played by a body double, and other Justice League members appeared in a series of Walmart commercials. 2019 to 2023. Henry Cavill traded his colorful Superman outfit with medieval black garb when he played Geralt of Rivia, The Witcher, a popular book/video game character. 2019. Cavill intended to do a cameo in the Shazam movie, but due to some contract reasons, a body double, Ryan Handley, filled in the Cavill Superman suit. 2021. Zack Snyder's Justice League was released in HBO Max, a somber, darker, and grittier version than the 2017 movie. This is the first time in a feature film that we see Superman wearing a black costume. The movie ended with a disturbing future vision of an evil Superman. 2022. Cavill's version of Superman made a cameo appearance in the final episode of the Peacemaker TV series. Another body double, Brad Abramenko, wore the super suit. 2022. Henry Cavill finally made a full-fledged cameo, this time in the Black Adam movie. Unfortunately, this seems to be the last time we'll see him in this role. Cavill was 39 years old when the movie was released.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
The 6-footer American actor Tyler Hoechlin officially appeared as Superman in several TV series. 2016. 29 years old Hoechlin first suited up as Superman when he guest starred in Season 2 Episode 1 of the Supergirl TV series. He appeared as Superman in a total of 12 episodes across DC Comics-based CW-verse shows, in the period 2016 to 2020. Most of these appearances of Hoechlin's Superman are big crossover events for the CW network. However, Hoechlin is not the first Superman in the CW-verse. Back in the pilot episode of Supergirl in 2015, an uncredited Kevin Caliber appeared as a silhouette of Superman assisting a young Kara Zor-El. 2011 to 2023. Before Tyler Hoechlin wore the bright colors of Superman, his prior notable role was that of Derek Hale, a werewolf in the TV series Teen Wolf. 2021 to 2023. Tyler Hoechlin proved he is more than capable to fill in the shoes of the world's premier superhero, and was awarded a show of his own with Superman and Lois. The show focuses on both the heroic adventures of the Man of Steel as well as his family life with his wife and 2 kids. The Superman and Lois TV series is currently in its 3rd season. Hoechlin's Superman faces off with powerful individuals like the Stranger, who would later turn out to be John Henry Irons, the superhero known as Steel. He would later become one of Superman's biggest allies. The business mogul Morgan Edge, who in fact is Kal-El's dastardly half-brother named Tal-Rho, but he too would redeem himself. The show also introduced Superman's often misunderstood shattered reflection, the being known as Bizarro. The latest season of the series will have Superman face this show's version of Lex Luthor. The 6 feet 3 inches American actor Ray Middleton is supposedly the first official actor hired to dress up as Superman. 1940. Just 2 years after Superman's debut in the comics, an actor, many would agree was the 33 years old Ray Middleton, was hired to suit up as the superhero at the New York World's Fair. Superman was featured at the World of Tomorrow exhibit as the Man of Tomorrow. Though some cast doubts that Middleton was the World's Fair Superman because they say Middleton doesn't look like the Fair's Superman. Here are a few side-by-side photographs of Middleton and the Man of Tomorrow, and we'll just let you decide if this Clark Kent is the same as this Superman. We might not have definite proof that Middleton was the actor in the Superman costume, but what we are sure about is that Middleton did play Superman in the World's Fair. But for their live Superman radio broadcast. And Ray Middleton was part of the awarding for the Superboy and Supergirl contests. Whether that's proof that he was Superman remains to be seen. Ray Middleton has a career that spans 6 decades and has appeared in shows like SWAT, Charlie's Angels, and some might remember him in an episode of MASH, as Cardinal Reardon.
You're a tough act to follow.
Being Superman is a full-time job. There's a lot you can do to help.
The 6 feet 4 inches American stage actor Bob Holliday played Superman more than any other actor. 1966. 33 years old Bob Holliday stars in the Broadway musical, It's a Bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Holiday played this singing Superman for over 140 performances. Here's a short sample of that performance.
Every man has a job to do, and my job is doing good.
The footage of Holiday in the super suit is through a short newsreel about the Man of Steel which accompanied the Broadway musical. The same year as the start of the musical, Holiday appeared as Superman in the game show, I've Got a Secret. Superman's secret for the show is that he is going to teach Steve Allen, the host, to fly. 1971. Bob Holiday's last turn as Superman is an endorsement for an aftershave by Aquavelva. The commercial sees a clean-shaven Superman, ready to do his superhero duties.
Is no ordinary man. This is Mr. F.G. Superman.
The British comedic troupe Monty Python all dressed up in Superman costumes in one of their sketches. 1969. The British surreal sketch comedy series, Monty Python's Flying Circus was in its first season. The third episode of the season involves a sketch entitled Bicycle Repair Man. The sketch has a ridiculous premise of a town full of people with the persona of Superman, and amongst these Superman was an individual who has the secret identity of Bicycle Repair Man. This superhero has the impressive power of being able to repair a bicycle with his own hands. Michael Palin plays the Bicycle Repair Man while the rest of the Monty Python crew of Terry Jones, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam and Graham Chapman wore their Superman costume throughout the sketch. The other Monty Python member, Eric Idle, was in the episode but was not part of this sketch.
Hi, Jack. Hi, Superman. Hello.
The 6'2" American game/talk show host and musician, Chuck Woolery, is the first Superman in live action that met with fellow DC superhero, Batman. 1973. 32 years old Woolery was able to dress up as the Man of Tomorrow in ABC Network's Saturday morning sneak peek. The sneak peek is a half-hour-long preview special of the network's animated lineup for the year. The first season of Super Friends was part of that year's lineup, which is why Woolery as Superman and another actor playing Batman were there to help promote the show. This was the only time Woolery would be in a Superman costume. Later in life, he would mostly be identified as a game/talk show host, after hosting several shows, like The Love Connection, The Chuck Woolery Show, and currently the podcast, Blunt Force Truth. Chuck Woolery has the honor of being the first host for the very popular Wheel of Fortune game show.
Are you putting me on?
The 6'4" American bodybuilder and actor, Peter Lupus, once suited up as Superman and stood side by side with an NBA legend. 1974. 41 years old Peter Lupus was given a mission by the United States Air Force to recruit abled young individuals in a 1-minute-long public service announcement commercial. Lupus was a bodybuilder and very much looked the part of the Man of Steel. Joining Lupus is an NBA Hall of Famer, who at that time was playing for the Bulls, Jerry Sloan. 1962. Lupus was able to portray another famous muscle man, Tarzan, when he guests in the Jack Benny program. 1966 to 1973. Prior to his brief stint as Superman, Peter Lupus was one of the main cast of a long-time running show, the original TV series, Mission Impossible. Lupus was in 161 episodes, 7 seasons, as Willie Armitage, the strong silent member of the Impossible Mission Force team.
They won't let me play with him. Why not? See, I'm too good.
The 6'4" American actor Denny Miller wore the Superman costume and appeared in an advertisement with a National Baseball Hall of Famer. 1974. The United States Air Force was recruiting capable young individuals for a super job in their service. The 39 years old Denny Miller was hired to be Superman in this ad campaign. The advertisement shows the imposing frame of Miller's Superman not getting to play baseball because they disqualified him for being too good. Enters legendary baseball manager and coach, Dick Williams, telling this Superman to rather enlist and use his skills in the US Air Force. Superman happily agreed, and jokingly asked Williams to join him enlist. 1959. Before wearing the red and blue tights of Superman, Miller was Tarzan the Ape Man, in an action-adventure feature film based on Edgar Rice Burroughs' novel. 1978. After his brief Superman gig, Denny Miller finds himself in an episode of Quark, a Star Trek parody show, in which he was playing a comic book character named Zoltar the Magnificent. 1978, and 1981. Miller gets to appear with another comic book powerhouse, this time on the Marvel side of the fence when he guest starred in 2 episodes of the Incredible Hulk TV series. The 6'2" American actor David Wilson appeared as Superman in a television adaptation of a Broadway musical. 1975. It's a bird. It's a plane. Its Superman musical flew from the stage to the small screen. The 25-years-old David Wilson inherits the singing Superman role from the legendary Bob Holliday, in the TV musical special. The special adaptation had to significantly shorten the musical for the TV viewing public, and big changes were made, like the ethnicity of a troupe of evildoers was altered from Chinese acrobats to mafia-style gangsters. This was Wilson's only turn in the red and blues of the Man of Steel. 1978. Interesting tidbit, David Wilson appeared in a movie with a fellow Superman, Christopher Reeve, in the submarine disaster film, Grey Lady Down. Wilson was in a bit role, and this was Reeve's feature film debut, 9 months before the release of Superman the movie. Unfortunately, Wilson and Reeve did not share the screen.
Do it, sweetheart. I'm putting the nachos in the oven.
Okay.
The 6'2" American actor and comedian Bill Murray appeared as Superman in a big DC Marvel crossover sketch comedy in a popular late-night show. 1979. A 28-year-old Bill Murray slipped into the blues and reds of the Man of Steel in Season 4, Episode 15 of Saturday Night Live. That night's host was Margot Kidder, the Lois Lane to Chris Reeves' Superman. In the sketch, Superhero Party, we see the married Superman and Lois, played by Kidder, host an event attended by high-profile superheroes. Lois and all the people around are still oblivious that Superman is Clark Kent. The sketch ends with Superman exposing his identity because he was distraught by the news he learned about Lois. Bill Murray has an acting career that spans 6 decades, and we know him as Dr. Venkman in the Ghostbuster series of films, as Bosley in the 2000 Charlie's Angels movie, and he'll be appearing as Lord Kriller in the MCU film Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The French automobile manufacturer Renault had an actor dress up as Superman in one of their advertisements. 1985. The Renault 5 is a 4-passenger hatchback, and the car, which is also called a Super 5 or SUPERCINQ, needed a super endorser. Enters the world's premier superhero, the Man of Steel, the Man of Tomorrow, Superman. Superman seemed intrigued by the car, and with his super senses and other special abilities, he scrutinized the SUPERCINQ. By the end of the commercial, Krypton's last son gave his stamp of approval. The advertisement uses the John Williams Superman theme, taking advantage of the fact that Christopher Reeve's movies were still fresh in the mind of many people at this time. We did not get Reeve to reprise the role of Superman for this advertisement, and unfortunately, we don't know the actor's name. If anyone has an idea of the identity of the actor, kindly write it down in the comments section.
Oh, much obliged, Superman. Sheesh, I don't know what we'd do without you.
The 5 feet 11 inches Canadian-American actor, comedian, screenwriter, and graphic designer, Phil Hartman is another SNL alum who dressed up as Superman in a comedy sketch. 1986. On Season 12 Episode 4 of SNL, 38-years-old Hartman wore the supersuit of Superman in a comedy sketch, Krypton Survives. The premise of the sketch follows Superman's origin. baby Kal-El was launched through space to avoid their planet's destruction by his scientist father Jor-El, played by that night's SNL host, Sam Kinison. But due to some miscalculation on Jor-El's part, Krypton was not destroyed. They have rocketed their baby to Earth for nothing. Kal-El, now all grown up and became Superman, received a call from his father, now feeling dismayed that he was separated from his family due to a lousy computation on Jor-El's part. His father continues making wrong calculations when he says that Superman can stop a meteor that was headed for Metropolis, but in fact destroyed the city of Paris. Phil Hartman was a regular on Saturday Night Live for 8 seasons, a total of 155 episodes.
That's right. Sorry to spoil the party, gentlemen.
The 6 feet 4 inches American comedy actor Kevin NEALON is another Saturday Night Live cast member who became Superman in one of their sketches. 1991. In season 17 episode 7 of SNL, Kevin NEALON, 38 years old when the episode aired, wore the super suit in a young Superboy sketch. The sketch focused on young Superboy played by Macaulay Culkin, the SNL host for the episode. The boy superhero is not being taken seriously because people find him very cute. Criminals just gushed over young Superboy even when the kid hero threatened them with jail time. Enter NEALON's Superman, who also plans to bring the criminal elements to justice. Young Superboy reiterates that he was to bring the evildoers in. This amused Superman, Luthor, and his thugs because they can't get enough of how adorable the little super guy is. One of the thugs then asked Superman if he was this cute when he was younger, to which he replied, "No, he was kinda heavy as a kid, because he has such a big S." The bad guys eventually agreed to be captured but requested Superman if he can take a picture of them with the lovable tiny do-gooder. NEALON was in Saturday Night Live from 86 to 95 for a total of 174 episodes.
I'd like to go back to Krypton.
The 5 feet 11 inches American stand-up comedian and actor Jerry Seinfeld, who in real life is an enormous Superman fan, gets to be the character in a comedy sketch. 1992. 37 years old Jerry Seinfeld hosted episode 18 season 17 of Saturday Night Live, where he did a funny skit of Superman doing a radio interview. The interview appears very normal, but the topics are incredible, but Superman Seinfeld answers it in a nonchalant manner. When you get up in the morning, do you think of kryptonite? Does it bother you that you can't see through lead? Did you stop aging when? These are some of the questions asked of Superman. The interview ended just like any regular radio show. 2004. We get to see Seinfeld having mundane adventures with an animated Man of Steel in a couple of 5 minutes American Express film commercial. The title of the advertisement is, "A uniform used to mean something." And hindsight is 2020. The ad shows that Seinfeld and Superman are good friends.
Nobody would think this is Superman.
The 6-footer American actor Nicolas Cage was set to be Superman in a doomed movie. 1998. Superman Leaves was a movie set to be released in the summer of 1998. It would star a 34 years old Nicolas Cage. The movie would be directed by Batman 1989 director, Tim Burton. But like many projects in Hollywood, Superman Leaves fell off the machinery and was ultimately cancelled before any principal photography was made. Currently, what is available for the public to see is some footage of Superman costume tests done by Cage. Nicolas Cage is a huge comic book fan. This is evident by using Cage as his screen name because he got it from one of his favorite Marvel characters, Luke Cage. And aside from that failed Superman Leaves movie, Nick Cage has starred in several other comic book-based films. Here's a quick rundown. 2007. Ghost Rider. 2010. He played a Batman-esque character, Big Daddy, in the Kick-Ass movie. 2011. Cage inhabited again the role of the Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. 2018. He lent his voice to Spider-Man Noir in the animated Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse movie. Also in 2018, he finally get to play Superman when he voiced the character in the animated film Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Well, it is important to have dreams, I guess.
Superman and Batman will slap you right back into the Fantastic Four. You ain't?
The 6 feet 5 inches American actor and wrestling superstar Dwayne Johnson wore the Superman suit a couple of times for television. 2000. 27 years old, Dwayne Johnson hosted Saturday Night Live's 15th episode of season 25. In the show, he did a comedy sketch where the setting is the Daily Planet office. Johnson in the sketch is Clark Kent, who is trying his best to hide his Superman secret. However, his office mates all know his secret and are having fun of the situation. 2016. 46 years old, Dwayne Johnson wore again the supersuit, this time introducing himself as the Samoan Superman when he hosted the MTV Movie Awards for that year. Co-hosting with him the event is the Dark Chocolate Knight, Kevin Hart. Dwayne Johnson has brought to life several memorable characters to the screen. 2001 to 2002. Matthias, the Scorpion King, who initially faced off with Rick O'Connell in the Mummy Returns movie. 2011 to 2019. Luke Hobbs. Johnson rode with the Fast and Furious family, and eventually get his own movie with Statham's Shaw. 2013. Roadblock. A fan favorite G.I. Joe character. 2014. Hercules, in a Hercules movie. The rare time you see The Rock sporting long hair. In 2022, he lent his voice to Superman's dog, Krypto the Superdog, in the animated film DC League of Super Pets.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like a villain.
In another movie, he breathed life into another DC Comics heavy hitter, the original champion of the Wizard Shazam, Black Adam. At the end of this film, Black Adam met face to face with the Man of Steel.
Merry Christmas!
The 5 feet 10 inches American actor Matt LeBlanc wore a Superman costume for the hit sitcom, Friends. 2000. In the episode, the one with the holiday armadillo. During the holiday season, Ross, who is dressed up as an armadillo, wanted to introduce his son to the Jewish tradition of Hanukkah. This was made complicated when Chandler arrived as Santa. Joey, who was played by the 33 years old LeBlanc, added more confusion when he swooped in wearing a Superman costume. Ross was able to continue to tell his son the story of their people, but thanks to LeBlanc's Joey, with an additional flourish of having Superman save the Jews by flying them out of Egypt. Matt LeBlanc is best known for his character Joey Tribbiani in Friends, but has made appearances in big movies like 1998 Lost in Space, where he played Major Don West, and in the 2 Charlie's Angels movies playing Lucy Liu's love interest.
With this crystal, the mystery of my true identity will be revealed.
The 6 feet 3 inches Australian actor Hugh Jackman once traded his adamantium claws for a Kryptonian red cape. 2001. In season 27, episode 8 of SNL, 33-year-old Hugh Jackman was that evening's host. For that night's show, Jackman did a sketch comedy, in which he became Superman. The sketch borrowed aesthetics from the 1978 movie. The setup for the SNL skit sees Superman discovering the Fortress of Solitude. Here he was able to talk to his Kryptonian parents. However, the conversation quickly became awkward due to Superman's parents suspecting that he might be into an alternative lifestyle with his penchant for wearing bright tights and hanging with a teenage Jimmy Olsen. Jackman, of course, is not new to the world of superheroes. A year earlier he starred in the star-making role of Wolverine in the X-Men movie. He's been the feral mutant for several movies, and the 2024 Deadpool movie will be the 10th time he'll play James Logan Howlett, The Wolverine. 2004. Another notable Hugh Jackman character is the monster hunter Van Helsing. His Van Helsing was pitted against several popular Universal monsters. Later in the film, Jackman's Van Helsing became a werewolf, making this once Superman into a wolfman.
Like a damn fool.
The 6'2" American actor and filmmaker Ben Affleck is the only actor who has worn both the costumes of Batman and Superman in the movies. 2006. 34 years old Ben Affleck was able to wear a Superman costume in the film Hollywoodland. The movie is a biopic of George Reeves, the Superman actor back in the 1950s. The film's story presents a fictionalized account of the circumstances surrounding the tragic life of the actor. There are moments of hopeful accounts when we see Affleck as Reeves wearing the iconic Superman costume. Other than the Superman costume, Ben Affleck would wear a couple more superhero outfits. 2003. He became Marvel's Man Without Fear in the Daredevil movie. 2016 to 2023. He became the other half of DC's World's Finest, Batman. First in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, then he'll appear in a couple more DCEU movies, and his latest appearance as Gotham's Dark Knight is in the Flash movie where he shares the mantle of the Bat with Michael Keaton.
The version of Superman that we were going to build was incredible. We were very much leaning towards ALYN.
The 5 feet 10 inches American actor DJ COTRONA was to star as Superman in a cancelled Justice League movie. 2009. The George Miller-helmed Justice League Mortal was set to screen in the summer of this year. This was to be the first theatrically released feature film of DC's premier superhero team. League members have been cast, and tasked to play the Big Blue Boy Scout. Superman is 29 years old DJ COTRONA. The movie was being fast-tracked to meet the targeted date when it hit several roadblocks which ultimately led to pulling the plug out for production. No principal photography was made for the film, and only some storyboards, concept art, and an unofficial group photo were leaked for the public to see. 2013. DJ COTRONA had to settle for a different set of uniforms when he played Flint, when he enlisted with the Joes in the G.I. Joe Retaliation movie. 2019 and 2013. COTRONA might not have played Justice League Mortal's Superman, but he still gets to don a superhero costume and join a super team, when his character and his character's foster siblings were endowed with the power of Shazam. He gets to do this twice when he reprised the role of Shazamified Pedro in the sequel, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. The 5 feet 11 inches American actor Matt Bomer appeared as Superman in a couple of Japanese commercials. 2009. 31 years old Bomer became Superman for 2 Toyota Prius advertisements. In the commercial, the superhero took advantage of his Kryptonian powers for his journalistic ventures, and get the scoop on how amazing the Prius is. Bomer's Superman seems to be wearing the same suit as Brandon Routh in Superman Returns. 2013. The Prius commercials were not the last time Bomer played Superman. He also lent the Man of Tomorrow his voice in the animated feature, Superman Unbound.
What the hell were you trying to prove out there?
2021 and 2023. Aside from Superman, another League member benefited from Matt Bomer's voice. In 2 occasions you'll hear the actor from the mouth of the Flash in the animated films, Justice Society World War II, and Legion of Superheroes. 2019 to 2023. From being Superman to being Negative Man, Matt Bomer is Larry Traynor, one of the leads in the Doom Patrol series, who also made an appearance in the Titans series. The 5 feet 9 inches American comedy actor Will Forte donned the Superman suit briefly for SNL. 2010. Ashton Kutcher is the night's host for season 35 episode 14 of the late-night comedy show Saturday Night Live. It is the actor's fourth time hosting the show, and in his monologue that night he wanted to act mature compared to the last time he hosted. He doesn't want to appear as overly excitable as his younger self is, but that was proven difficult that night when he saw several awesome events happening in the studio. One of this said events is seeing Superman getting a daiquiri from an Imperial Stormtrooper bartender. This Superman is played by 39-years-old Will Forte. Forte's appearance as the Man of Tomorrow is brief and a set piece for Kutcher's monologue. The Man of Steel did nothing much, just drank his cocktail and shook hands with Mark Twain. Will Forte has appeared in many movies and TV shows and has embodied many characters. Forte's best remembered character is MacGruber, a parody of MacGyver. He originated this character in SNL, then eventually had his movie and TV series.
Forget the rest.
The 6 feet 3 inches American actor Brian Thomas Smith guest starred in an episode of Big Bang Theory wearing a Superman suit. 2010. The 33-years-old Brian Smith appeared in the Justice League Recombination episode as Zach Johnson. The Big Bang guys got Penny and her boyfriend, Zach, to join their DC Comic Justice League of America costume group for a New Year's Eve party at the comic book store to win the Best Group Costume prize. Penny is going as Wonder Woman, while Zach dresses as Superman. Funny enough, their live-action Justice League predates the big-budgeted movie by 7 years. Zach Johnson is one of Brian Thomas Smith's more memorable characters and has appeared in the Big Bang Theory sitcom for a total of 11 episodes. Smith also did an interview with Access Hollywood about his Big Bang character and dressed up in an updated Superman costume.
Fuse your balls into one big...
The 6'2" American actor Bobby Cannavale wore a Superman costume in one segment of an anthology comedy film. 2013. Movie 43 is a film consisting of 14 different storylines. One of the storylines is superhero speed dating. Here we see the boy Wonder, Robin and his cohort Batman in a speed dating event seeking out a bomb threat. Robin attempts to connect with various women through speed dating, and one of these women is the newly single, Lois Lane. Learning about Robin and Lois's date is an unhinged Superman, played by 43-years-old Bobby Cannavale, who swooped in, dragged the boy Wonder into a broom closet and threatened Robin with bodily harm. This Superman is not the hero we all know. Fun fact though, Cannavale's Superman wears an S-shield that is very similar to what the first appearance Superman wore in the comics. Many of us will know Bobby Cannavale from his appearance as Cassie Lang's stepfather in 2 Ant-Man movies.
Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy, released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
With the announcement of a new Superman movie. Name the actor you want to see wear the iconic superhero costume. That's it for now. If we missed anyone, please let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, leave a comment, and share the video. You can find GeekWatch in Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Then head out to our merch store, link is in the description below.